James Beattie back with our continuing coverage of Defending Our Freedom Summit here in Parsippany. I'm joined now by Rob Poor, who comes from all the way in North Dakota.
Yes.
From the Say Anything.
Yeah.
One of the biggest blogs in North Dakota. Basically what we do here. Rob, good to have you with us on Save Jersey.
Yeah.
Now, talk to us a little bit about this fracking issue. You spoke on a panel this morning.
Yeah.
Gentleman from the Heritage Foundation, Dr. Kurtzer. And what did you basically convey to the public this morning? Because I was there.
Sure. Well, one thing I wanted to talk about is, I'm somebody from North Dakota. We've all heard of the Bakken oil boom. What I talked about is, A, we don't like to call it a boom. We think that the state of American energy has changed. This is revolutionary. And also I wanted to talk about the fact that I live in among the fracking. I drink the water. I breathe the air. And this is something that I feel is safe. I live there with my children. This is not something where I live thousands of miles away from what's going on. And I'm saying, those people have nothing to worry about. I'm saying I don't think I have anything to worry about. So those are a couple of messages that I wanted to get across. Is just, what fracking is doing for American energy is setting it on fire in a way that we are now measuring it. At one point, back in the 70s, we were talking about things like peak oil, where they were saying that, we were going to run out of oil in the lifetimes of people who were alive in the 1970s. And what has actually happened is that because of fracking, because of horizontal drilling and some other, improvements in techniques, we're actually talking about oil and natural gas supplies that could last us centuries.
To bring to your attention, last year, as we know, Governor Christie's very popular in the state.
Right.
Absolutely no doubt about that. Last year, very contested legislative district elections from north to south. Wasn't sure how it was going to turn out. Fracking came up as an issue. Democrats were obviously very much against it. The Republicans were for it. Well, for the economic opportunity that fracking provided, nevertheless they wanted to be regulated. There wasn't much of a big gung-ho push, so as not to offend, as you said, the clean air, clean water, the concerns that go along with that, so as to dissuade potential voters. As you see, you elaborate on a little bit. Talk a little bit about what fracking provides. How does that work?
Sure. Well, essentially what it is it's called hydraulic fracturing. It's a specific type of fracking. There's other types of fracking out there. Hydraulic is predominantly what you hear about when people talk about fracking. And essentially what it is they drill down, they go straight down and then they go to the sides. And then what they do is they pump fracking fluid down in there. They create pressure so that it cracks the rocks. And predominantly we're talking about is shale oil and shale gas. So it'll crack the shale and release the oil and gas that is trapped in the shale, which they are then able to pump back up to the surface and use.
Now, some people actually say that's going to hurt the environment. It's not going to be very good for the environment. We should rely on solar. We should rely on wind and other alternative means like ethanol. Kind of dissect those concerns.
Sure. Well, primarily the concerns you hear about fracking is that it's going to contaminate the water. That seems to be the number one concern. The problem with that concern is that is not something that's unique to fracking. Fracking is where they're cracking the earth. Thousands and thousands of people in the water table. The chances of a fracking fissure coming up and allowing gas or oil to bubble up into a water aquifer are nil. You have a better chance of winning the lottery or getting struck by lightning. I mean, it's not going to happen. What the concern is that when they drill straight down, they're obviously drilling through layers of water and other things like that. But that's been unique to oil drilling since we began oil drilling. We've always been drilling straight down. That's not something that's new to fracking.
Sure.
We have developed regulations and ways to protect against that, and they seem to be working very well.
Now, you say they work very well. Nevertheless, the sort of narrative that fracking is dangerous has prevailed.
I would say it's prevailed.
It's doing. It's getting along in the narrative of the American public. How can that be overcome going forward?
Well, I think we need to talk about the fact that it's not that new. I mean, fracking was actually first. I don't want to say trademarked, but first patented by Halliburton in Texas in the 1940s. We've been doing this for a long, long time. We can do this, and I think the other thing we need to talk about is we're not we're not talking about two sides of an extreme here. We're not talking about just let them frack willy-nilly, no oversight, no regulation, or no fracking at all. I think the right is somewhere in the middle. North Dakota actually passed some of the most stringent fracking guidelines in the country just recently. And one of the reasons why we did that is because we have a lot of it going on, and we wanted to make sure that we were exercising a proper amount of oversight at the local level. So this is something we can do. We can frack, and we can frack safely. And I think also you got to start looking at some of the motivations of people who are saying that this is dirty. Is it really because it's dirty, or is it because that they were wrong? Because they were the ones who were saying, 30 years ago, that we were going to run out of oil, but we were going to run out of natural gas. And so that was the impetus for needing to push America onto all these alternatives, be it wind power or solar power or ethanol, which I have nothing against, by the way, except that they don't work short of government subsidies and mandates. I think what angers them is that they expected us to be running out of oil and natural gas by now. And not only are we not running out of oil and natural gas, we're opening up new reserves all the time.
What do you see for the future of hydraulic fracturing, just to wrap this up?
I think hydraulic fracturing is going to mean the same thing for American energy, what something like the atomic reaper meant for agriculture, or what the light bulb meant for lighting and electricity. It is a fundamental game changer. It's one of the great moments of American inventiveness and ingenuity.
Now, Rob Port, Say Anything blog, one of the most read blogs in North Dakota. Go to it, read it, learn about the great state of North Dakota. There's a big Senate race out there, so you're going to want to learn about that, and you're only going to find the best coverage from Rob Port. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Absolutely.